Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Lazio Lounge. I'm Vittorio Campanile. I have to say that this time I have plenty of guests here on the show, waiting from Alasdair McKenzie that is still at the Stadio Olimpico. We don't know if he's going to join us, but we have Michael Di Mascio. Hi Mike, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me back, boys.
And Rami Algendi. Rami, welcome back.
Thanks, guys.
I know
Nice to be back again.
I know it's very late, Rami. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Guys,
it's okay.
if before the match people would have told you, well, Lazio will play much better but wouldn't score and it will be a draw, I wouldn't believe it, honestly. I thought it's Milan is going to score for sure tonight. Instead, they didn't have a chance. I'm a little bit surprised. Michael, were you expecting something similar?
Well, yeah. If you look at the formation and you see Patric and Bastos back, you would have signed in blood for the tie, I guess you could say. Especially without conceding an away goal, the tie remains open. If anything, really, I'd say overall the defense as a whole, not so much Patric, but the rest of the defense, all men of the match.
Rami?
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think any optimistic fan today thought that we're gonna get a clean sheet and stop Milan from scoring, especially against Piatek, who's on fire lately. But there's some positive today, I guess.
Well, about Piatek, you all have to... Piontek, sorry, they told me from Poland that the pronunciation is Piontek, so be careful. It's all, you have to give it credit. I bet that Piontek would have scored tonight, and obviously he didn't. So, if you need someone not to score, then ask me to bet on him, and that's how things work. Anyway, Acerbi was unbelievable today. I thought, I'm not sure it's his best match with Lazio this year, but he pretty much cancelled Piontek, who, as we were saying, scored every single match in the last three. So, incredible match from Acerbi. Guys, do you think he's the best defender of the Serie A at the moment? Mike?
Well, sorry, I left it because I thought it was such a loaded question to say Acerbi best defender of Serie A. Maybe most consistent, I would say. I don't know about best. Definitely most consistent, and that's indicative of how many games in a row, too, he played before, of course, the stop because of the, let's say, less than, controversial red card against Napoli, or else he would have probably still been playing right through till now.
Yeah, he's the kind of player that you can rely on every game. You know exactly what you're going to get from him. His form is always constant. He rarely plays badly. I guess he's learning from Patrick from playing from with him the last 2 or 3 games. But seriously, yeah, he's been playing very well. I don't think he's the best defender in Serie A. I think Juventus' defenders are better, but he's up there. He's definitely up there.
I was hoping to see finally a 4-man defense, but as soon as Inzaghi found out that Bastos was back, he switched to the 3-man defense.
It's never gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen.
Stubborn.
We have to say that it worked out, though, right? Because Milan didn't have a chance, but come on, you have a chance to play with a 4-man defense. If you never tried, why, Michael? What's your thought about that? Why he's never trying a different defend?
Well, didn't he said something interesting. He said it's not so much about the formation, but the fluidity, I guess, or the movement or the interpretation. That was the word he used, more than the system that they have. So I don't know. He's like a politician. He's getting around the question. It's starting to get on everybody's nerves. When the English Lazio fan or the English media is starting to pick up on a formation issue, you can already tell it's touched everybody. Everybody would like to see him be less stubborn, but you die by the sword, you live by the sword, right? And he's going to stick with this formation for as long as possible. And Leyva would have come into the three-man defense had Bastos not made the recovery. And then I don't know what happens. Does Badel come in? I really didn't know. Thank God Bastos came back. And to preface that, I would say Bastos and Wallace always get clumped together as poor defenders. But for me, Bastos, at least I know what I'm going to get from him every game. It's whereas Wallace is more susceptible to stuff that is unthinkable in terms of mistakes or even good games. I feel that Bastos, I know what I'm going to get and what I can rely on him to do physically. And this year, more than ever, he's trying his hardest to score goals.
I think Bastos and Wallace, both, you don't know what you're going to get from them. Sometimes they have a great game and sometimes they are a disaster. Today, Bastos played well, I think, in defense, but when he started to think that he's Messi and started to dribble against everyone and lose the ball, he's not good at that part. But defending today, he was good. As for the question, the four defense, I seriously don't understand it because he does try it sometimes in games, like against Ishbilia in the second half. He tried the four defense. So why don't you start like that and see how the team goes, especially when you don't have the players? You don't have to play Patrick as a defender. I don't know. I don't understand why he's very stubborn.
Yeah, I think he's the only chances. The only I'm thinking about. I think against Sevilla he played with a four-man defense in the second half. I mean, if something terrible doesn't happen, he never switched. That's the desperate mode for Simone Inzaghi, switch to the four-man defense. So yeah, I think this season he never started, and it's funny because I was saying in the last podcast, Simone Inzaghi started as a manager with a 4-3 when he was in the Primavera, but even when he was in the Allievi team of Lazio, he always played with the 4-3. And if you remember, the first year he was Lazio manager, he started with the 4-3. So I really don't understand why. As Michael was saying, probably is a thing of mechanism of the movement of the full team. But still, I don't know. I would give it a chance. And we have to say that today, Acerbi played great, but even Basso was amazing. And Patrick, you know how much I don't rate him as a central defender, but he was quite good today. He made, as usual, a stupid mistake, a stupid foul that could have cost him a red card. But if you forget that, he played quite well today.
Vittorio, I wanted to ask you, because I'm sure we're going to put aside a lot of time to discuss or dispute some of the episodes of the game, because Orsato, if you had to give a letter grade, I have to give an F for the way he disputed the game. But yeah, I want to ask you actually how you felt about that Patric foul, because when I saw it happen, I said, oh no, he's going to get a straight red for it because of how late and I guess the way Borini reacted after, and just because there was no chance of him winning the ball. I thought it was going to be a straight red. Did you feel the same way?
Unfortunately, yes. I thought, oh my, how stupid he is. This is a red card. But I thought that Orsato was terrible, and so I was hoping he wouldn't give the red card. I thought, honestly, there was a penalty for Lazio on Milinkovic Savic. I thought Mustacchio pushes the player and hit the ball with hand, so that's clearly a penalty. But luckily, apart of these two episodes, Orsato didn't make terrible mistakes that influenced the match. But yeah, I thought Lazio had a penalty, should have had a penalty. But
what about on Correa? Isn't that a penalty as well?
The one in the first half you're talking about?
Yes, before the elbow to the head of Milinkovic.
I saw a third replay, and you see that unfortunately, I think it's Romagnoli. He touched before the ball, and so it's not a penalty. But talking about that, I thought Correa did a lot of good things, but were never able to finish it. And from a number 10, or a player of that talent, you expect him to not only dribble past the first defender, but or do the assist to Ciro Immobile or finish it. He was never able to do it, and I don't know if that's the reason why Lazio didn't score today, but I think that it was a big factor.
This season, I think, if you tell me this season that we were not gonna score like we did last season, I would say you're just kidding. But this season has been very strange. In the final third, we're not taking any of our chances. We haven't scored in 2 games in a row now against Ishbilia and against Milan today. We could have easily scored in those both of those games at least 2 or 3 goals, but I don't know if it's Immobile's bad form or our finishing in the last third of the pitch is not. It's very strange. I don't know what's the problem. Defensively, we've been better than last season defensively, I've seen, but attacking wise, we've been awful.
You bring up a good point, Rami, and this is something I've been meaning to ask you guys. I listened to you last week, and I'm glad I'm on to ask you this. Somebody posed this question to me, actually a couple of different people, when you speak about scoring goals. Is it so much so that Lazio's underperforming this year, or did we overperform last year in terms of how we scored the goals, how consistent we were with scoring goals? Everybody was firing on all cylinders. Luis Alberto had the best season of his life. Ciro Immobile was chasing the capocannonieri. Milinkovic-Savic was a force. This year, there's glimpses of that. Is it more so there's a mental factor, or are we just playing at the level that's more normal to each player's characteristics, and maybe just last year they overachieved in some of these areas?
I think both. I think last year we did overachieve. Let's not forget that we were the best scoring team in the league. It's not going to happen in 10 years to come. But I think we did overachieve last season, and we're underachieving this season. This season, our problem is we're not finishing the chances we get. We get in the game sometimes 10 or 12 chances, and we rarely finish them. Today, even Immobile, yes, he was offside, but he has a chance one-on-one with the keeper, and he didn't score. So I don't know. There's definitely a problem attacking-wise this season.
I don't know if you agree, but I think the biggest difference is the quality players are not playing at their level. And I'm talking about Milinkovic-Savic, Luis Alberto, Ciro Immobile, comparing to what they did last year. Lazio played very well today, but think about Milinkovic-Savic. What did he do? I think he did very little today. Ciro Immobile missed so many chances. I think the way Lazio is playing is the same of last year. We are moving the ball, we are creating chances, but then, especially against big teams, you need the top players to play at their level and make the difference. And this year we are not. I think Ciro Immobile is probably in the worst period of his career with Lazio now. You can see that he's struggling. I said already about Correa. Milinkovic-Savic today had a couple of chances, missed them. Luis Alberto, when he came in, he pretty much didn't do nothing. He played like a playmaker, very far from goal. And if you go and watch the match, I think Bowman was saying this. Patrick Bowman was saying this. If you consider the match today, I think Lazio shot from inside the box just twice today, and one was a big chance Ciro Immobile had, and the other one was a header of Bastos, I think, in the second half. Otherwise, all shot Lazio made was from far away outside the box. And, when it's outside the box, it's not that easy to score. And that's why Lazio didn't score today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Ciro hasn't scored since January 31st in the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia. And you can definitely see that he's struggling. Against Sevilla, he probably scores that chip over the goalie. Instead, it ends up on the roof of the net. Just little strange things. He's forcing stuff. He needs to play a little bit simpler. But last year, either we overachieved or we're underachieving now. But he was getting service from Luis Alberto that he's never seen in his 3 years at Lazio, and he's not getting the same service this year. And you can see when Luis Alberto's on with Correa, they don't know what to do with each other. Neither one of them wants to pass the ball to the other because they know they're probably not going to get it back. Inzaghi needs to figure it out. You had mentioned the 4-3-3 earlier about his formation. I think he's always relied on the fact that even when he was in the Primavera, he's always had really attacking wingers, fast, speedy wingers in Keita and Tunkara. He doesn't have that anymore. And to me, Correa is not a winger. Correa plays in the same trequartista role as Luis Alberto, and they step on each other's feet a lot of times. And then somehow you have to make space for Milinkovic-Savic. And this is also why I think we did ourselves a disservice. Felipe Anderson at least was more of a true winger when he played. I don't know, just my observations, but I see a lot of redundancies in the midfield, and I think nobody can get free or be themselves. And Luis Alberto, for whatever reason, that injury last year has changed him mentally because he's not the same player. He doesn't move around the pitch with the same fluid movements as he did last year and the same confidence.
Yeah, I think we need to try different tactics, different ways to get more to the goal. I think also there's a factor that most of the teams now know how we play, know that the danger is coming from Luis Alberto, Milinkovic-Savic, and Immobile, and they stop them because last year no one could handle us last year because no one knew that Luis Alberto and Immobile are going to be on fire. So this season, both of them are not playing really well. We need to find other options to score goals. The problem now is that when going into a match, we're concerned because we don't know if we're going to score a goal or not. So we can lose 1-0 because we can't score. We know that we can't score a goal. So we need to improve because next game is the derby. So we have to score goals to win.
Cheeto's missing one goal. Cheeto will score. The goal will eventually come. And once it comes, I think it should open up and bring back the consistency or the confidence. But I think more than anything, you're right. We go into a match now where we don't know where the goal is going to come from. At least I can say that I'm starting to see some consistency along players. Whether it's good or bad, at least we're going to start to know what we're getting from Acerbi, Leiva, and as long as they stay healthy. And Romulo, I have to say, I'm not saying he's spectacular or anything like that, but I prefer him every day of the week to Marusic. At least I know what I'm going to get from him. And I know that it's going to be consistent, and he's not going to put my team in jeopardy for stupidness.
I still think people are too harsh on Marusic. Yeah, he's not playing well, but everyone wants him out.
Still waiting for Marusic to put in one decent cross. He's had almost 3 seasons? I don't know. We gave him pretty much the full season last year. Time is up. Romulo's played maybe a handful of games, and he's already way more reliable from a defensive standpoint and offensively too. Marusic, I don't know what he offers, whether it's defensively or offensively.
Sorry, Mike. I agree that Romulo is maybe an upgrade, but today he misses two great chances. On the first one, he's shy. He doesn't want to shoot and passes the ball to Ciro Immobile that misses incredible chances because he wasn't close in the box. In the second one, instead he goes with the head instead of trying to kick it immediately to Donnarumma. And, those two chances were very important. So, and how many crosses did he make today? I think they all went directly in Curva Sud. So, I agree that he's better than Marusic, but it's not what we need. And I said when we signed him, I thought we should have signed Romulo 5 years ago, not now. And
oh, for sure, 100%. But still over Marusic any day. At least I know Romulo is not going to get a stupid red card when my team has a man advantage and the tie is still open in the Europa League and there's ridiculousness happening. That's the second time Marusic has done something unthinkable and put us in a difficulty. To me, that is a sign of maturity. Romulo, whatever his shortcomings are attacking-wise, he is not going to make a late challenge like Patric did today or slap somebody in the face like Marusic or say something and that's immature. To me, it's more of a consistent. I'd rather have Romulo for the derby because I know I can rely on him to have ice in his veins and not get tripped up by the emotions of the game. I can't say the same thing about Patric or Marusic.
No, I totally agree on that. I simply think that if you want to compete for the Champions League, then you have to provide Inzaghi with better players. Romolo, for me, it's a very good substitute. Someone that can come in and give you consistency. But if you want to fight for the Champions League, again, Milan this winter signed Piontek and Paqueta. We saw Paqueta today. He was fighting, probably was the only midfield of Milan who played today. We signed Romulo, who missed 2 good chances. So, we often talk about Inzaghi that is stubborn, etc. But give Inzaghi the players Milan have, and then we talk about it, I think. So
100%. Patric would never have played today if Inzaghi wasn't in an emergency in the back. In fact, I saw on Twitter that Patric was whistled and jeered by the fans after his baby tantrum after being substituted last week in the Europa League.
And as I said before, Patrick played well today. So my question is Inzaghi so good that makes even Patrick look like a good defender? Or you can take something good out from Patrick in some occasions?
Hey, it depends. What team are we playing, though? We're talking about Milan in the sense that they have big wallets. I know historically they're a big team, but when your manager is Gennaro Gattuso, who I don't rate as a manager or tactically sound manager, this is another consistent time that we've played them and we finished 0-0. Last year we played them in the Coppa Italia two times. They finished 0-0. So I don't necessarily think it's so much that Patric looks good. Maybe Milan had an off day and Piontek also had an off day. I mean, he can't keep this goal scoring up the way he went into the game. I don't know. For me, I know Patric. I don't know Milan. I know my own players, and I know what I've seen from Patric over the years. We're talking about a guy who goes sliding into the box in the 90th minute and costs you a penalty shot against Juventus after your team has sweat and spit blood to try to get a result. These are the types of players that have been put in Inzaghi's disposal. So I don't blame Inzaghi for that. You equip the man with better players and we can have a different discussion. But they've done a good job to keep their best players. Last year, Luis Alberto and Milinkovic were the best players. Hindsight being 2020, maybe we should have let one of them go.
I don't know if it's good news, but in the press conference, Inzaghi said that Wallace should be back.
Oh, fuck.
Against Roma again,
Oh my, I don't want to think about it.
Well, at least Luis Felipe looks like he should be ready for Saturday too. So I think Luis Felipe keeps Wallace out of the squad. In a ballotaggio, I think I have to believe that Luis Felipe keeps Wallace out.
Patrick Bowman about Patrick and all the defense. It was a game that defending was easy. Piontek was only threat for us. Yes, I agree, but in the last 4 matches, Piontek scored for 5 goals. So, it's a very dangerous player. Again, I thought Acerbi was amazing today. But, still, you have to be careful. And Paqueta, it's a very good player. Suso, it's a strange player. Sometimes, like today, he doesn't play. I thought he was invisible. But in other occasions, he can be very dangerous. Çalhanoğlu, who came in the first half for Kessie, it's very dangerous because he can be invisible, and then if you give him the chance, the space, he can be very dangerous from outside. We know he's very good with free kicks. So yes, it can be a very easy team to defend, but at the same time, it can be very dangerous because if you make a mistake, they can punish you very easily. So overall, it was good that Lazio didn't make mistakes, and I was sending tweets to Patrick all week long, and we were talking about the mistakes Lazio made in the last 2 or 3 goals that Lazio allowed against Sevilla at home and away. And this time, luckily, Lazio was, in that case, perfect. We didn't make any presence to Milan to take advantage of. So that's another positive side. On the other side, we have to score because it's not the first match that Lazio doesn't score.
Yeah, yeah. I think the discussion about the Milan's attack, I think they're very dangerous when they're playing on their day and they're playing well. I think today they will be very disappointed to not even threaten the goal, our goal, especially with Patrick playing and Bastos. So they will definitely be upset today. But they didn't threaten today. So they didn't play well. I don't think they didn't play well, and that helped us. I think that helped us. It made Patrick look good. It made Bastos look good. So, but against other teams like Sevilla, for instance, they scored against us 3 goals in 2 games. So it depends on the other teams as well and their attack.
Yeah, I agree. Before we go and start praising our defense, which has been leaky at times, as the nicest thing I could say, especially last season and the year before, but now the focus turns to the derby, and if they can put up a similar consistent performance, aside from the Patric tackle, I have a lot more confidence that we can turn this slow starting season around. A win in the derby changes everything for me, and all of a sudden we don't have to worry about the Europa League, and then we can start to become consistent and rely on the same players, and hopefully winning breeds more confidence among certain players like Milinkovic-Savic, who's one good game away from being a star again. The way his body is and the way he can dictate a game, he just needs a little bit of confidence, and hopefully we can get him back to where he was last year.
I agree, and I wanted to add that I don't remember a save from Strakosha tonight. I don't remember another match where Strakosha didn't have to do nothing. So this, I don't know, as you were saying, I don't know if you have to give credit to Lazio defense or blame a Milan attacking that was terrible today. I don't know how to put it around. But, and talking about the derby, even though I wouldn't want to talk that much, my concern is, I thought today Lazio would have never scored. And this is the same thing, the same idea I have going in the derby. We don't score. We are struggling. So I don't think Lazio will score against Roma if nothing huge happened. And on the other side, thinking of how Lazio will play, I don't know if Bastos will play, Patrick will play, etc. I believe Roma has more chances to score than we have. So, I'm a little bit concerned about the next derby, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the problem in that game is that Roma always score. Unfortunately, even if they're playing badly, they always score. So that's going to be a threat for us. But also, they don't have a very good defense. Let's be honest. Frosinone scored twice against them, and other teams are scoring against them. So the defense is not good. So we have to score against them because we're going to get some chances, but we have to finish them. But their attack is very dangerous, and I think they will score. So we need to find the net.
Mike?
For me, the derby is simple. You need 11 Di Canio's in the field, 11 Simeones, head high, and that's it. That's all I ask. I saw the first 30, 45 minutes today. If we get the same Lazio that were causing Milan problems, we can do damage against the other guys on Saturday. We don't even have to mention their names because it's not important. This is it. The derby is different than even the Coppa Italia semifinal. And I want to ask, or I think it should be said, come on, guys, more than 20,000 in the stadium. That was ridiculous today. 20,000 for a semifinal of the Coppa Italia, that's embarrassing. So all I ask is the fans to show up in a loud voice with the Striscione and the Cori. And I asked the same of my team to show up like lions on the field that haven't eaten for a few days.
Yeah, I agree. It was terrible to see Stadio Olimpico so empty. You have to give credit to the Curva Nord because they were shouting, they was chanting a lot, and you could hear a lot of Lazio fans. So that was positive. But as you were saying, it's a semi-final of Coppa Italia. It's a big match for Lazio. And let's be honest, it's easier for Lazio to win the Coppa Italia than to reach the Champions League spot. So, this could have been a very important match. And in this type of matches, you need to have the fans and Lazio didn't have them, so it's a big shame. Talking about the derby and the team, I didn't see in the past years a lot of times Lazio playing the derby like 11 Di Canio or 11 Simeone. That's the biggest concern, especially the one we played this season. Lazio played very, very well the first 20 minutes. Then Dzeko had the chance, and Lazio pretty much disappeared. They were so afraid that they stopped playing. This is one of the problems Lazio had this season. And people said it was Inzaghi's fault. I think it are the players.
I remember the first leg. It was disgusting how we fell apart. You're absolutely correct. But I think that's more indicative of this Lazio. For whatever reason, when the chances don't go their way, they tend to throw their hands up and go, Mbappe, it's finished. We're not going to be able to do anything about this. And that's that. It was a fluky goal that went in against us in the first derby. I think was a Pellegrini. I don't even remember. The back heel ridiculousness. Yeah. That's the weird part. The derby is an isolated game. So if you don't have it in your, if you don't have the voglia, the will to go on to the field, don't go. Don't show up because I'd rather have. Listen, let me rephrase what I'm saying. If you can win the derby with Mutarelli and Filippini, there's no excuses, really. Let's be honest. All those years that we beat them with teams that were half as good as them. You need ice in your veins. You need courage. And that's it. That's all you need. You don't necessarily need skill. You just need to be able to play simple and not get caught up in the moment and the tricks of those other guys because they're going to stir it up. They're going to try to wind the players up. That's their specialty. De Rossi, for example, has never had any class his entire life. You know what he's going to do. You know what you're going to get from them, and that's it. So you have to go into the game, and you need to rely on your veterans like Leva and Lulic, who have been there before and they've won it, or have been in these types of big matches. And you need Ciro Immobile to deliver. I'm okay with him not scoring since January 31st if he scores a winner on Saturday and turns this season around, because a derby can change a whole season. We win on Saturday, and all of a sudden confidence is through the roof, and we have some easier games, or at least more manageable games, without the Europa League on the horizon. We can still turn the season around, and come April, May, we can be fighting for fourth place. It's not too far away.
Yeah, I agree. It's a huge game. Especially both teams are close to each other. I think the winner of this game will get closer to the race to the Champions League. The loser will probably get far away. It's gonna be a huge game. Form is not important in games like this. We just need to play with heart, to be aggressive, not to have any fear. We just have to play our style of play and hopefully score some goals. But it's huge 3 points.
Well, it's a derby. It's always huge 3 points. Some of the question from Twitter. Vinovu, Lulic's face is aging 1 year per game. Symbol of a team that is not
Go
fresh,
away
but
with that nonsense.
But let me finish. That it's not fresh, but give his all. What do you think about the performance of Lulic today, Michael?
Hey, for me, the team decides to stay with Lulic. He's the captain. I support Lulic till the end. I don't care. I know a lot of people like to criticize Lulic, but once again, he goes in my book of consistent players. I know what I'm going to get from Lulic. I know what I can expect from him. I know he's not going to let me down. I know he knows his limitations. He has certain movements that he does consistently, and that's it. And you know what? He gives 100%. He leaves the field with a sweaty jersey. That's all I ask.
Rami?
Let's be honest. He's not a left winger. He'll never be a left winger. I loved him when he played in the 4-3-3 as a left attacking player or a right attacking player or in midfield. He was fantastic. Yeah, he's getting old, but like Mike said, we know what we're gonna get from him. He's not Felipe Anderson or Candreva in his best, but he's still a part of the team, and he delivers every game, even if he has some faults, but he delivers.
We have Alistair McKenzie here. Alistair, how are you?
Hello. Yeah, not bad. Sorry to be late, but it seems like it's a crowded show tonight. So it's you've had good company by the sounds of things.
Yep.
Don't kiss my ass, journalist. You're the star of the show. What are you talking about?
What's your thought about?
Yeah, I make up my own timetable. Yeah, sorry.
What's
the
thoughts
I have
of?
a question for you, Alistair.
Everybody loves Alistair. That should be the new name of this show.
So whose boos were louder, Biglia or Patrick?
That's a good question. Definitely Belia by far. It was outrageous. I mean, the booze kind of started when he started kind of getting dressed, coming off the bench, and then as soon as his name was read out, there was this kind of crescendo, and it was pretty deafening. Patrick's ones, they were very obvious and they were very loud. But it's while the team is being read out at the start, so it only lasts a minute,
I think
a few
it's pathetic,
seconds, and then it's gone. But
that's pathetic.
yeah, I thought it was a bit harsh, but it's also more or less just the Curva letting him know you can't behave like that.
And I expect the same treatment for
being more.
I expect the same treatment for Berisha when he comes back, because to me he's not welcome in this team either. The behavior of Berisha is far worse than Patric. To be going on social media while your team is in a crucial Europa League game and you're with your ex-team in Austria taking photos, that's for me is inexcusable. And to me, he's far worse than Patric, and I hope that he has to go and apologize to the fans. So I like that they hold Patric accountable for his actions. You don't walk off the field. You don't show disrespect to your coach when you're subbed off. And I know it's a sign of the times, what we saw this weekend, where all of a sudden coaches don't decide substitutions anymore and players seem to decide when they get to come off. But I'm still, call me old-fashioned, but when your name or your number is called to come off, you should come off.
I mean,
what did Inzaghi say in the press conference?
So he was fairly upbeat, to be honest. I mean, he did speak about having a regret about the result because of the fact that Lazio had played so well and were the better team in the match. And actually, when Gattuso came in, he said pretty much the same thing, which goes to show that everyone's actually on the same page about this for once. But he was, I think, pretty happy with how it had gone, considering the fact that, as he was describing it, there's this emergency in defence. The way that Patrick and Bastos had come into the team, Bastos especially, only started training yesterday. So to come into the team and play at the level he did, I thought was really encouraging. Inzaghi was very happy about that. Inevitably, he was also asked about the derby. He said Radu will definitely be going straight back in for that. He said Luis Felipe may well be as well, but they're gonna have to monitor him a little bit, because he didn't want to come off the bench today, Felipe, because he wasn't feeling up to it. So that kind of depends, I suppose, how the rest of the week goes with his training and so on. But I think the overall reaction has been a fairly positive one, given the performance. But I'm sure you've already mentioned it, but obviously the one thing that is definitely missing is that clinical edge in attack, which is a big issue.
Yeah, it is. Patrick Bowman is asking what happened to Alessandro Rossi. He played 3 games for Venezia and now he's not even been in the match squad. No injury, no suspension as far as I know. No, he's injured. I don't remember what happened, but yeah, he got injured last week, I think. So that's why he wasn't in the bench. In the meantime, Minala scored today. So, if we need some goals, then we should ask Minala, because it looks like Ciro and Correa are struggling at the moment.
The only thing I want to ask Minala for is citizenship, the fastest way to fake a document so that I can get citizenship in Italy and get jobs across Europe. That's the only thing I'm going to rely on Minala for at the moment.
That's harsh. Come on.
Vittorio, you know why you bring me on the show, to stir it up, sort of like it is the time for the derby. Whether you think it's true or not what I say, but I'm here for the ratings. I come to bring the ratings on the show.
Okay. A lot of problems. Good. Yeah, I'm really scared about the derby. I'm happy that Mike is quite confident, but
Coraggio, Vittorio.
seeing it, how we struggle to score. Yeah, that's my biggest concern. I'm happy to see Bastos playing that well, because Roma, it's very good at attacking, as Rami was saying. They always score at the derby, so having a good defense, it's promising. But we have to start scoring again, because in the last month or so we really struggle, and we cannot blame Caicedo, because Ciro Immobile is not playing as we remember, and Correa as well, and yeah, even Milinkovic-Savic, that was playing much better before the injury, now it's struggling, in my opinion. So we have problems there. Alistair, do you agree with me, or you're more on Micah's side?
Alistair got picked up for touchdown.
Yeah, I'm going to turn my mic off right now.
He's on the injured list now too.
Yeah, absolutely. But
well, they thought he was one of the ultras that came in for the derby, and they're trying to arrest him ahead of time before they even decide what time the match is going to be played at.
But talking about the next match, we said this Saturday there's the derby, then there's Fiorentina, then Parma, then Inter. The next four are not very easy matches at all. I think they are quite complicated. Fiorentina, we saw they are playing quite well. They are a very bizarre team, I would say, because they can play very well and very bad without any particular reason. Parma can be very dangerous, and then Inter could be really deciding match, because if you beat them, you have to see how Inter will arrive to that match. But beating Inter would be a huge boost, even though we are playing away. So it's going to be really, really difficult.
Yeah, it's a tough run of games, I think. I don't know. I don't want to be negative, but I don't think we're gonna get into the Champions League. I think right now Milan are far ahead from even Inter, because they're playing well, they're scoring goals. Inter are struggling a little bit, even with the Icardi problem. But I don't know. I don't want to be negative, like I said, but hopefully we can get some points from the next run of games. It will be crucial, of course. So, and hopefully also with I don't know when we're gonna play the second leg. I think it's a month from now. So we still have time to get better in attack and get scoring more goals.
One game at a time. Derby first. Yeah. Everything else is secondary, boys.
Especially for you, it looks like.
Oh, well, I live and die by it. I especially what time it starts. If they move the start time, I'm screwed. I have to work in the morning. I really hope they don't change the game start time. And I can't believe that we have to wait 3 days before to find out what time it starts at. That's ridiculous.
I think it's Saturday night.
No, but there's complaints that they might switch the start time. It is still going to be Saturday, but it could be Saturday afternoon instead.
Yeah, I think that's going to be what's going to happen. Knowing it happened already in the past years, right? I think in the last 3 years, that every time they switch it to a 3 o'clock start kickoff. So I think it's going to happen even this time, which is ridiculous, but. It
is ridiculous for people who travel. More than anything, I don't care about the players, the start time, but I've traveled to the Derby, and we've had to rearrange flights, and there's a lot of people that fly in from all over the place because, let's face it, it's a spectacle to go watch, and to tell people, hey, you got to pay more money now because you got to fly in Friday night to make it for a 3 o'clock in the afternoon game. That's when you've had the game set for so long that it's going to be at 8:30. That's inexcusable as the end. But such as Italy, that's how things work around there. Alistair knows.
Well, I was going to say it's going to be hard to beat the Inter game earlier this season, where we didn't know if it was actually going to happen until 2 hours before kickoff. So that was a particularly special one. But yeah, I don't know. I think in terms of bringing it back to the actual derby discussion, it's worth. If you just look at the results, I think you might be a bit worried about the prospect of facing Roma, because actually on paper their form's not been too bad recently. But for one reason or another, I've been watching their games recently, and they are not looking good at all. I don't know if any of you saw the Frosinone game, but this is a team that is incredibly defensively fragile. And although I do have serious concerns about the attack not working for Lazio, I feel like almost if there's any team that we're going to score against in this league right now, it's probably Roma, because they look incredibly fragile and they look like they're one derby defeat away from their next crisis. I've counted 3 so far this season, Roma crises, in terms of fans getting on the back of the team and the manager and players and so on. So I think with this being Lazio's home derby as well, there's a real chance to put some pressure on them. And I think it's very easy to get focused on ourselves, but actually if you take the wider picture and look at the position they're in, this is a more finely balanced game than you might otherwise believe, I suppose. So yeah, I think I'm feeling relatively, I wouldn't say optimistic, but yeah, I believe.
Yeah, but the problem I have is I saw Roma playing in the last matches and they're not playing well at all, but they're still able to win it, which it makes a big difference. Big teams win even playing badly. Lazio doesn't, so I don't know if Lazio can be considered.
We just did that. We just did that against Frosinone and Empoli. Do you not remember? That's like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but it's against Frosinone and Empoli, and we didn't.
Yeah, but their last game was against Frosinone. It's exactly the same opponent you're talking about.
Yeah, but they won even the matches before, right? So, and they beat Porto.
Vittorio's just in Derby week. That's what it is. Vittorio's in Derby week. He's very pensive. He's worried about it. Just eat some food, Vittorio. You'll be okay. We got this. As long as Giacomelli or Banti is not the referee on Saturday, I think we'll be in good shape.
Alistair, what do you think about the penalty? Was there a penalty tonight?
Well, there were a couple of claims. Which one in particular you're talking? I mean, the Paqueta one seems to be the stronger claim to me, but and certainly everybody did seem to be on the same page thinking it was a penalty. But
the one on Musacchio on Milinkovic-Savic.
The Musacchio one didn't look like a penalty to me, but I've only seen it about once or twice back. The Paqueta one, I found it really hard to be able to actually tell if he got proper contact on the ball or not. I don't know. It's one of these things where one of those decisions could have easily been given the other way, but the way that Orsato was officiating that game, it wasn't going to happen because, I quite like the way he referees games because this is actually something Gattuso mentioned in the press conference after, was that he never whistles for half fouls, and that he was complaining that Milan didn't react to that, and that basically they were spending their time complaining about decisions instead of playing to the whistle and getting on with it. But I quite like the fact that he lets the game flow like that. But I think, it's different to the Sevilla game, for example, last Thursday. I was complaining then because there was a lack of consistency between the way that he handled the Marasic red card and the way that he handled his other decisions in the game. But I think Orsato, the way he refereed the game tonight, was consistent because he hasn't given a penalty for those, but then he's also not given stupid little fouls throughout the game as well. So I think at least...
and he also gave Patric a break by not giving him a straight red either.
When would Patrick have got a straight red?
On his late challenge on Borini.
I would never have said a straight red. But,
Watch it again. It was close. There was no chance to play the ball. I've seen it given for left.
Yeah, but I mean, like I say, he was refereeing leniently. Obviously, you have to set your marker down somewhere and say that something is a foul. But I think at least, I suppose what I'm trying to say is at least I don't feel as aggrieved by it as I did by Taylor's refereeing, because at least you can see what Orsato was trying to do.
Yep. I mean, as a Lazio, seeing a lot of Lazio matches, I was ready to see a red card like we saw it against Sevilla and so on. So it was good to not see it, but I think in that case the ref could have given Patrick a red card, and it would be a terrible, thing, because Lazio was playing better and maybe deserved to win. But if you don't shoot on target, Donnarumma today didn't do nothing, so that's the biggest problem. In a match where I didn't see how much ball possession Lazio had, but I thought we had the match under control, and there you have to win it. One thing before wrapping it up, I saw in more than a couple of circumstances, maybe Correa with the ball, and near him there was only Ciro Immobile. The rest of the team was 10, 15 meters behind. And this is why Milan was able to defend without allowing any big chances to Lazio. You cannot pass the full defense of Milan with just two players. You need more of them. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think we need to be more attacking up front. Milinkovic-Savic has to get forward more and help. Playing counter-attack is good, but you can't play with two players, Immobile and Correa, all the time. The wingers have to come forward as well, Lulic and Romelu. We need a lot of help in attacking-wise, especially that we're not scoring right now. I think we had a couple of good chances from Milinkovic-Savic today. He had a good header, but he shot it wide, and he had a good shot that Donnarumma saved as well. So he needs to get more attacking.
Mike?
My focus is on the Derby, Vittorio. I've already put this game past. It's in the rear view mirror. I'm happy with the performance today. If they had lost, it would have been an injustice. I regret that we didn't win based on our first half and how aggressive we were. I'm not surprised. I have all the confidence in the world that come April or whenever the return leg is, who cares? We'll defeat them this time because that's what's right. Last year, we didn't deserve to lose to them either. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way in penalties. But that's all sciocchezze, and I don't care about it because right now, all I care about is having 11 Di Canio's, 11 Simeones in front of my TV on Saturday afternoon. And I hope they keep the match at 8:30 p.m., and I hope that there's no crowd trouble for all those people traveling from across the country to get in there or across Europe.
Alistair, your final thoughts?
Yeah. Don't know how to follow that up, really. It was, I think that it was a more encouraging performance tonight than I had expected to see when I was heading to the stadium. I think the point Inzaghi raised about this being the most informed team in Italy is one worth considering. This isn't the same result as we got the last time we played Milan because they're in a different place now than they were then. So I think, it's a confidence builder. I think if we'd gone into the derby on the back of the Genoa game or the Sevilla game, then we might be fearing it a bit. But at least this performance, even if it's not given us the win, is something that the team can go into training with a bit more confidence about this week and try and put things right. Because I think that a derby can change a season, and we need a win in this game. Let's be completely honest about it. If the Champions League is going to happen, we have to win this match. So, yeah.
Okay, guys, I think we can wrap it up here. Thanks, Mike. I know you're already focused on Saturday, so we're going to talk afterwards Saturdays. Thanks, Rami, for joining us. I know it's very late there, so really appreciate. And I don't know if Alistair in the meantime have been arrested, but thanks, Alistair, for joining.
What a sacrifice. Thanks for being with us.
Bye, guys. And we're going to talk after the Derby Saturday. Well, if I'm still alive after the Derby. But thanks, everybody.
Eat something.
I'm going to sleep now. It's late. Bye, guys. Thank you very much.